Agua Caliente is Lima 54 in San Diego County. It's just the other side of Mount Laguna and about 45 miles from Montgomery Field in San Diego. There's several different ways to land there, and I'll talk to you about a few of my favorite ways. On the radio on 122.9, making sure that everybody knows you're coming, you can just kind of sneak in from the west, setting yourself up on a slightly offset final from about 2 miles away, and then just do a map of the earth approach where you're hugging the terrain as you go over that final hill that's on the west side of the runway, and then drop down the face of that and get your flaps in and your speed right, and crab in a little bit to get yourself over to the center line, and then land basically straight in from the west. As with any approach, you want to be on speed because you don't want to be floating down the runway, and so use your flaps and use your throttle similar to the way that you might do it if you were landing in Catalina. The windsock is halfway down the runway, and I typically touch down about 500 feet down the runway. Okay, here's another way I like to come in on runway 11. Typically the winds here are out of the south-southeast, and that makes this approach optimal. Otherwise, if they're from the west, this is not going to work for you. I like to get a beam the numbers of runway 11 at about 500 feet, and then work my way toward the hill, progressively lowering my speed, putting my flaps in and increasing my drag, and dropping into the slot so that I can progressively crab toward the center line. Now keep in mind there are actually power lines along the road that is about a quarter mile from the edge of the runway. You'd have to work pretty hard to get that low for them to be a factor. It's basically a power off 180, but the nice thing is you still have power in case you need it. Most people come in too fast and too high and end up going around. But since you don't get charged per landing or approach, then get out there and have some fun with it. I have seen student pilots who have had a lot of trouble on their first attempt here. So if you're a student, don't come without your instructor first. And if you're a low-time pilot, bring somebody with you that's been there before or can at least give you some tips. And then finally, there's always runway 29 if you don't want to work too hard and don't mind landing in 5 to 7 knots of tailwind. You've got plenty of runway to roll out, and the rollout terminates into the parking area, so you're certainly going in the right direction. If you do decide to go around, the upslope to that hill begins at about a quarter mile off the runway, but you'll only need a 20-degree offset during your climb. A hike to the campground is about 15 minutes each way, where you'll find a bathroom and facilities, including the indoor hot springs hot tub. There's also an outdoor swimming pool and a deck and showers and a changing room. And all this for just $3 per person as walk-ins, payable to the rangers at the entry station. Well, I hope this helps you, and I hope you enjoy your visit to Agua Caliente, Lima 54, one of San Diego's great aviation jewels.